Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, where you will find interesting guests and discussions about cutting-edge topics to assist you on your journey. The Quantum Guide Show is ideally suited to the newly awakened and for those who feel isolated by their newfound beliefs. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change that we wish to see in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels, and share this show with your friends. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. I'm your host, Karen Holton. Well, today our very special guest, Veda Austin, was scheduled for episode 117, but at the last minute, she had technical difficulties and she couldn't make it to the show. So you just have to put up with little old me. And I'm going to delve in a little further to the Quantum Health Transformation Program, this time step 3. And so I hope you stick around and enjoy the show. And I'm totally unprepared, but we're just going to go with it. What else can we do, right? So I'm going to go to screen share. And here's my PDF. Okay, so as you can see, this is taken from the primer. The Quantum Health Transformation Program, for those of you that are brand new to this whole idea, this whole concept, and you haven't heard my spiel before, I'm going to just briefly go over it. So the 9 steps, 12-step program, wrong program. The 9 steps to quantum health transformation is information that I put together. I received it in a download. It came very suddenly, filled up my head with all this information, and I just went around like a crazy person creating notes and information, and then eventually the Quantum Health Transformation Program. So it wasn't given to me in 9 steps. It was just given to me in an instant. And then it took me 2 years, really, maybe even more, to downstep it and put it into common language that everybody could understand and to group it in logical order. So what I did was I actually grouped it to correspond to the 9 chakras. Now, you might be saying, Karen, you've made a mistake. There's only 7 chakras. No, actually, there's a lot more than 7. There's a lot more than 9 chakras. We have primary chakras. We've got our secondary chakras that give us all of our paranormal contact abilities. And then we have also our a third set of chakras, which are often called stargates, that allow for interdimensional travel. So depending, most people are familiar with trying to get their first 7 chakras organized, but it takes quite a bit of work actually to be able to activate all your chakras. And not a lot of people historically have been able to do that. Some very famous yogis and things like that. But anyway, we're all working on the path to enlightenment, and this is sort of a path. I don't want you to think this is the only way of getting your ascension program going. It's not. But if you relate to this, if it resonates with you, if you find the information helpful, go ahead and use it. It's not copyrighted. You can share it. You can use it in any way that benefits humankind, because that was the task that I was given by my extraterrestrial contacts. So as I said, there's 9 chakras. There's a chakra below your feet, which I have called black. And there's also a chakra about 10 inches above your head, which I've called white. And of course, then red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Anyway, so you start off actually at the bottom. So if you haven't checked this out, you can find all the videos, live, primers, PDFs, everything on my website at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. And you can also find the playlist on YouTube. And of course, I've got a lot of videos about this sort of scattered everywhere around social media. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. So today we've kind of covered step 9 black, which was the introduction to the Nubby Ball tool, and also where I teach you how to do your light shadow integration. Step 8 red is grounding and the birth of new core belief systems. Step 7 is orange, developing new core belief systems and male-female integration. And I also delve a little bit into the whole transgender thing. What's that about? What's causing it? Why are people doing it? And to give you a little bit of accurate information on what some of the causes are and how this whole thing got started. But even if you're not interested in that part, I really recommend step 7 because it's going to help you to integrate your male-female energy. So in step 9, you have the light and the shadow, and you need to integrate the two. Well, you also have a male side and a female side. So the left side is your female side, and your right side is your male side. And when you integrate these energies, you become much greater to reach your potential, and you become a more fully human, actually. Then there's step 6, yellow, detoxification and the power of emotions. So this is a fairly beefy step, and it's divided up into part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1 is all about external detoxification, because a lot of people are now just finding out that we are surrounded in a toxic environment. And so our cleaning products, our personal care products, all of these things are poisoning us. 20% of your blood is flowing through your skin and is taking into your body things that you're putting on the skin. So just like they can give you nicotine patches, or they can give you insulin patches, because they know that the skin absorbs these things, chemicals, and transmits them or moves them into your blood system. And so that's why you want to be very careful what you put on your body. Part 2 is all about internal detoxification. So I delve in great detail about food-like substances and how these are not foods. These are chemicals that our bodies don't know what to deal with. And a lot of us are really sick and tired of being really sick and tired because we're not ingesting real food. And then there's also detoxification for your emotions. So a lot of people are taught, you don't want to spend time in grief or anger or sadness because it's going to lower your vibration. It'll hold you back from the ascension process or the awakening process, depending on how you look at it. And I say, no, nay, that's not true. All of your emotions are there for a reason, and there are ways to make them work for you. And so that's when I get into the detoxification of your emotions in step 6. Step 5 is all about food and all the common ideologies and misconceptions, and even, I would say, cult-like followings of different ways of eating, and how that's not appropriate for all of humanity. It may work for you on a personal level, but pretty much is not going to work for all of humanity. So what do we do? Do we do carnivore? Do we do vegan? Do we do paleo? What do we do? Do we do keto? And the truth of the matter is there is no one way to eat. It's really all up to you. It's up to has something to do with your blood type. It has something to do with your ancestry and your genetics. And it also has a lot to do with what's biologically appropriate for humans to consume. Step 4 is blue, understanding the power of heuristics and speaking your truth. I recently did a video about that if you want to learn more about it. Basically, you can't speak your truth until you find your truth. And you can't find your truth until you move outside of the construct, the mainstream way of programming that is leading us astray. Step 3 is understanding and using perception within the construct and manifesting change. Seeing is believing. So this is kind of like the how to manifest things, law of attraction, but it actually goes much deeper and shows you how to manifest things that are really long lasting and really beneficial, and not just discard and go for the next thing. Step 2 is integration with our higher selves. That's really cool. And I'll be doing that next time I have an opportunity where you can find out how to make contact with your spirit guides, your higher self, Holy Spirit, extraterrestrials. It's really exciting. And then, of course, step 1 is a state of bliss and spiritual exercises so that you can experience and manage your own state of bliss, which is a very high state of spirituality. So that's basically an overview of the 9 steps. I recommend you start with step 9, which will build the foundation for step 8, and on it goes. And so even though today I'm going to present step 3, indigo, understanding and using perception within the construct and managing change, seeing is believing, I really recommend that if you like this lesson, go back, check out my website, go back and check out all of the lessons because they're pretty amazing. Oops. Yeah, so there's at least 2 videos for each step. Make sure you catch the primer, which is presented in sort of a slideshow format, and then the live recorded video where I'm just talking about how I go about approaching the lesson. And as I mentioned before, this system of quantum health transformation works really well for me and probably many other people, but you must synthesize this information and take only what resonates with you and don't worry about the rest, because you know within yourself, your inner self, but also even emotionally and biochemically, your body will tell you what works for you and what doesn't. And I really urge you to follow it. And as I mentioned before, you can use any of this information under the fair use clause. And so please do check it out and share it. One other thing I want, because a lot of what I talk about sort of overlaps with health and the physical reality, I just want everyone to know that I have a disclaimer that says that all of this information is presented as information only. It's based on my own experience. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I am not in a position to give you professional advice unless you want it from a social worker, because I am this side, that side. I do have my certificates up that I am actually have my degree in social work and also other things. So seek the advice of a medical professional. If you have any health concerns, consult a lawyer. If you have legal concerns, consult a financial advisor if you have financial concerns, because those are not things that I am able to speak about. And no part of this program has been approved by the FDA or the CFIA or Health Canada or anything else. So just so that you're aware, and I also recommend that you do your own research. And I do sell some products and services on my website, and I recommend that you do your research before you purchase anything, because that's just, in my opinion, good advice. So we're going to get a little bit into what I mean by seeing is believing. So I've got here, ask, believe, receive. Now, these are not new concepts and they do not originate with me, but the download I got did include this component. And so I built it from my own experience for you. So believe it or not, we can influence the past, the present, and the future. Continuing from Quantum Health Transformation Step 4, now that we have a better understanding of how we form our perceptual arena and know ways to adjust this, we can move on to manifest more so that our lives actually better resemble our desires. Did you know that a desire, a heartfelt desire, is the same thing as a prayer? It is. So you do not control the environment around you, but you do control your responses to it, which in turn creates a brand new environment. Number 1, seeing is believing. We have all heard the saying, seeing is believing, which usually refers to the thought of, I'll believe it when I see it. But consider this option. When we see something in our mind's eye, in our imagination, and we believe it's possible for us, then seeing is also believing. And the second option is the one I use as a driving force to bring into the 3D reality that which I desire, but do not yet physically experience. And you probably are familiar with this saying, thoughts become things. Oh, yes, they do. So there are ways that we can work with other systems to help bring into manifestation the things that we desire. And one of them is to work with the natural energy flow of the planet, which I call growth and renewal. So year in and year out, there is a harmonious flow to the planet and all living things. If we divide the year by its equinoxes, and we find half the year contributes to growth and half the year to rest and renewal. Spring and autumn are periods of beginnings and endings, while summer and winter, which is the solstices, are the event horizons. By working with this natural ebb and flow of growth and renewal, we can supercharge our manifesting potential. Something very similar to this is you can follow the moon phases. If you're into astrology can really help you out, very similar, and a very similar way. But for now, just to keep it really simple, I'm just divided the year into the 4 seasons. So there's autumn, September 21st to December 21st. It's a time to complete projects, review successes, and consider things that could use a different approach, and prepare for a period of rest and introspection. As projects wind down to a period of less activity, we have time to review and plan while preparing for renewal. A temporary contraction phase. Now is a good time to start adding root and seasonal vegetables to soups and stews to support your body during this phase. So this is a time when things are kind of winding down, the days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, it's starting to cool off. This is a really good time to look at the activity of the previous year, see what worked well, maybe what could use a different approach, what doesn't work so well, and you can make a plan for the upcoming year on how you're going to approach things a little bit differently. And also in line with eating more seasonally, you're not going to have as many fresh veggies and things growing out in the garden. So it's time to sort of rethink that and perhaps alter our diet. Not for everybody, but for some people, it does help. Winter, December 21st to March 21st, is a time for rest, planning, and festivities. Work is minimized while making time for more sleep and for eating more nutrient-dense foods, including soups and stews and nuts and seeds to support the body during this phase. So we want to take a look at what would naturally grow in your area in the wintertime. Well, where I live in Alberta, Canada, it's really cold 6 months out of the year, nothing grows. So there is not much to eat, but there are things that we can preserve from the summertime that can feed us during the winter. And this is the best time to explore our spirituality for contemplation and self-reflection. So in the wintertime, when the days are the shortest and it's very cold outside, is a great time. Yes, you can binge on Netflix, but you can also spend some time thinking about your life and improving your spiritual contact. And there's all kinds of things we can do during this more dormant season. That leads us up to springtime, where we are right now at the making of this video, March 21st to June 21st. It begins another expansion phase and is best spent making needed adjustments to all that we put our hand to. This is the time for research, reconnecting, and networking with others. We gear up to more physical activity as we begin to eat more local, raw foods as they become available. This is a great time for detoxification and preparation for the abundance which will soon appear. Now, I'm not just talking about food. I'm also talking about when we have our biggest growth or our expansion phase for everything we do, whether it's improving our family life, whether it's doing home improvements, or whether it's improving your job, all of those things. And then, of course, there's summer, June 21st to September 21st. It's a time to get out there and enjoy the projects we have developed to full potential. So all that planning that we did in the winter time, all the spiritual contact, and we came into spring, we started networking and bringing things back to life again. And in the summers when we really are in our greatest expansion phase, when we can really do something quite amazing that will build year after year after year. So I recommend that you eat from a bounty of raw, fresh vegetables, fruits, berries to maximize your potential. You want to fill the body with all its nutrients so that it can react and it can support you and it can move about in this world to make your dreams come true. The tweaking and planning are done, and now it's time to just get out there and do it. So this scenario is for the Northern Hemisphere, where the reverse pattern, as far as the dates go, is true for the Southern Hemisphere. But indeed, both Northern and Southern Hemispheres will go through these periods of expansion and contraction. And when you understand that, you can work with the natural ebb and flow of the planet. And it kind of supercharges what you're doing. It gives more energy to what you're doing. So another thing when it comes to manifestation that I want to point out is don't run from your situation. A lot of people, including me in the past, we would work on manifesting techniques because we didn't like where we were at right now. But as the sign says, welcome to disappointment. Don't stay too long. That which we consciously or subconsciously create remains for some time in our 3D reality. So don't litter your life with manifestations only to discard or replace them before they come to fruition due to disappointment or changing desires. Instead, choose things that will form a foundation for other, bigger desires. Find new uses for that which you brought about, but now feel the urge to discard. Stop reinventing the wheel. Brick by brick, you can build a secure future. So what do I actually mean by that? Well, there's a lot of people that are just changing their mind all the time, because often when we set a goal and we work towards that goal, when we get there, the goal doesn't look the way we thought it was going to look. And so instead of staying with the process, people just toss the project out and start a new manifestation. But what happens is energy is constantly being created and then dumped and created and dumped. And you never really get the satisfaction of sticking with projects long enough to find out perhaps the universe has a different plan for that project or for you. And it may outdo your wildest dreams and you could have the greatest of success. But if you're constantly dumping it and starting something new, you never get anywhere. You never build the energy sufficiently to actually reach your goals. Disappointment, let it be a road bump and not a roadblock on your path to joy. And the other sign says, mistakes are the portals of discovery. The lessons will come no matter what we ask for. Sometimes our manifesting the things we desire so much doesn't look or feel like what we imagined it would be. But it came into your life for a reason. So ride it out and see what you can learn from it. Try to remember that nothing good or bad lasts, because we are involved in a living, expanding, and contracting ebb and flow situational life experience. So we have to expect ups and downs all the time. So a word about running amok after we shut off some social controls. So one of the things that I've done in my personal evolution is to cast off the social controls that came with my programming from the mainstream construct. Some folks wonder what will become of society if we step outside of our cultural socialization. Well, we're sure seeing a lot of that in the world today. But quite frankly, for a few, this socialization works, but for many of us, it's holding us back from maturing as a species. Following a mainstream path allows us to be controlled by a bureaucratic economic system which pays no attention to health or spirituality because there's no profit in it. Once we stray in a positive way, we become healthier in our thinking and being, which has a positive ripple effect within society. Kingdoms rise and kingdoms fail. But if we remain healthfully intact, we are prepared for anything. So this has never been more important than it is today. If we maintain our health, our mental health, our physical health, if we stay in a good place that works for us, no matter what's going on in the outside world, we're unshakable. And that's what we need. We need to be unshakable so we can persevere in our newfound beliefs and in our new way of walking with wisdom and our new way of being human, more fully human. Check out my online shop, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, to find Zendome's orgone generators, comfort crystals, and an array of vital services, all designed to help you to become the change that you wish to see in the world. Check out my website and find many valuable resources. There's the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation. This is a free, comprehensive online course. Learn about detoxification and nutrition, grounding and spiritual practices, and an advanced version of the law of attraction, giving you more of what you really want out of life. I also have my Zendome's Orgonite, which is my unique brand of orgone generators. They're ethically sourced and handmade by a friend of mine, and they're double charged for maximum effect. I also carry comfort crystals, which is a limited collection of energetically infused semi-precious stones. I have an array of vital services so you can get the one-on-one support that you've been looking for. Also coaching, guidance, and I do assessments and also workshops. And then again, there are the many free resources available on my website. Wisdom to assist with energetic ascension into physical, mental, and spiritual paradise. Let us share our quantum work with you. It's your turn to heal, evolve, and thrive. Believe in your ability to succeed. Now, let's get back to the show. So this is a really important part of the lesson. Number 4, corrupted memories. I have some experience with corrupted memories, and I swear it works. And at very least, it will sure make you feel a lot better. So nothing that we have experienced until now is universally real or true. The past is made up of perceptual realities which are far from accurate, and so it is best not to take them too seriously. And you might be saying, yeah, but Karen, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. You know, I had a really horrible experience when I was younger. I don't know, I'm just making this stuff up. I got mugged and I got beat on, and then the police treated me unfairly, and then my family didn't believe me. Like, I don't know. We all have these stories, one kind or another. We all have them. And you may swear that this is absolutely true and this really happened, and you're angry and you're hurt and you've got all these bad feelings. But the truth of the matter is, yes, these incidences did happen. I'm not saying they didn't. But by dwelling on them, what we do is we take them out, we embellish them, and then we put them away again. And the next time we're triggered, we take them out, we embellish them with more emotion, perhaps detail, because we don't really accurately remember what happened. We just have all these feelings and these perceptions and these memories. We bring them out, and we toss them around, and we make them bigger. It's like a big rat's nest that gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and our problems are not being taken care of. And so often what happens is people will go to the mental illness. I'm not going to call it mental health because I've never seen any health come out of anything called mental health. So I think it's a mental sickness system. And from personal experience, I've tried the medications, I've tried the counseling, I've tried the support groups, I've tried everything, and nothing could make that memory disappear or shrink. Every time I brought it out, it got bigger and bigger, and I ended up becoming quite victim mentality oriented as a result. So even if we believe what happened to us is real, why not go back and rewrite your history? I have found this to be very beneficial for healing from trauma and disappointment. So what we want to do is we want to remove the fear. This is a true story from my own personal life. Once I discovered that I could corrupt my past memories, I started doing it. I did it in the beginning just because it made me feel better. So for one example, I, like millions and millions of other people, came from a dysfunctional family, and I wasn't given the contact and the love and the support and all those things that I needed to grow up to be a secure individual. In fact, my parents were very much into climbing the social scale, and they only associated with people who had millions of dollars, and they were always putting on a phony front because they didn't have millions of dollars to make it look like they had the same lifestyle and everything. And because they put so much energy into that, they didn't bother with us children. And so I would come home after school and I'd want to tell my mom something that happened, and she wouldn't even lift her eyes from the newspaper, because for her to be successful, she believed that she had to be really on top of everything that was going on so that she could be the news bringer in her community and things like that. And so I'd come home after school and she wouldn't even look at me, and I'd start telling her something and she'd kind of go, but I knew she never heard a word I said because I'd stop mid-sentence and she wouldn't even notice. And I'd just sadly walk away. Yeah, I know it's a sad story. Could have been a hell of a lot worse. So I'm not playing the victim role here. I'm giving you an example. So that bothered me all my life. It really bothered me that my parents didn't care enough to give me eye contact or to pay attention to me or to support me. And it didn't help my life circumstances. So I decided I was going to create my own corrupted memory. So just mentally, in my own mind, I took out my real history and I put in a fake history that I engineered and created for myself. And in my fake memory, clearly a fake memory, I made up the most beautiful story that warmed my heart and really helped me to heal. What I did was I imagined that every day when I came home after school, my mom would make tea and we'd sit down and she'd want to hear all about my day. And she'd pay attention to everything I said, and she'd look me in the eye, and I could see the love in her face and in her eyes. It just made me feel so good. Sorry, it's a bit emotional because this is true and this is from my life. So anyway, it made me feel so much better. I just kept working with this fake memory and working with it. And eventually I even came up with the idea that when I'd had a really, really bad day, I'd come home. Sorry, I'm kind of emotional. And if I'd had a bad day, my mom would get out the good china and she'd bring out special cookies and we'd sit and have a special kind of a tea party. Well, she listened to me and about my day and about my issues. Yeah, I am emotional every time I talk about this because it's so profound. It's so profound. So anyway, this took away my bad memory, replaced it with a good memory, and made me happy and made me feel secure, made me love my parents more. So I just kept doing it. And I didn't expect anything to come of it outside of within myself. So I didn't tell anybody I was doing this. I didn't tell anybody. I kept it my secret because I find that when I keep things secret, they develop so much richer and better than if I run around and tell everybody about it. And so I went to visit my mom, and because I was like in my mid-40s by this time. I went to visit my mom, And we were just having an ordinary kind of a visit. All of a sudden, my mom turned to me and said, Karen, do you remember the tea parties we used to have after school? Yeah, I'm not going to stop and redo this video again. I'm just going to go with it. And I was shocked. I was so shocked. How did my corrupted memory jump to my mother's memory? I don't know. I don't know. But she thinks we really did that. And I never told her about it. And so you can see this is so profound. And this is another way that we can manifest a better future for ourselves. Sorry, I got to wait my eyes again. This is another way how we can manifest something much richer in our future than what we had in the past. So it doesn't matter what happened to you. Well, it matters. It shouldn't have happened if it was traumatic, but it happened and now you can change it now. And it seems to go back and change the past. So I don't know if this is just manifestation, if this is time travel. Like, what is going on? Am I reality jumping? Am I changing to a new timeline? I don't know, but I like it. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I encourage you to try yourself. So the little picture here says, I'm reading this because some of the folks will be listening to this in an audio podcast. They may not have the visual. So the little sign says, you must understand that seeing is believing, but also know that believing is seeing. Corrupted memories not only made me feel better, but, corrupted memories not only made me feel better. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. Corrupted memories not only made me feel better, but they seemed to actually change the past. I had never told my mother about my corrupted memory. In short, if the past is holding you back or preventing you from believing in a better you, simply corrupt the old memories and make up better ones. Now, you might be saying, well, wait a minute, doesn't that screw up the timeline? Well, I don't see how it could have a negative effect. I think it would have a positive effect on the timeline. So we want to erase our negative memories and put in some positive ones. In scientific terms, we are altering our quantum field holography. Think of your imagination as a canvas. Your breath is like the paintbrush, and your creativity is the paint. Breathing is really important. When we inhale, we're breathing in prana, chi, Holy Spirit, all the things we need in order to work our magic here on Earth. And the little picture here says the vibrations of the mental forces are the best and therefore the most powerful of the existence. Next, I want to take a look at how we create energy for change. I call it the Argyle sock approach. All things come into being as a process which unfolds over what we experience as time. Situations have a start point and increase energetically to a peak, and then they start to decline. All things experienced in the 3D reality follow an ebb and flow model, much like the Argyle sock pattern. Once we decide on a specific goal or outcome or manifestation, the process begins in that moment. This is what free will means. We are free to will anything into our experience which benefits us as a learning experience. So you'll see here that as the pattern goes up and forms a peak and starts to come down, there's another pattern that is going up and forming a peak before it comes down. This is constantly happening. That's how energy grows, and that's how energy then drops down again. So look for evidence in your common everyday experiences to confirm that your manifestation is in the works. Just put it out there, and soon you will see that you are on track as evidence appears in small and large ways. You will soon see opportunities to assist yourself to gain your desired outcome. And this is called working towards your goal. So what we do is we start off, My nose is still running from my little crying jag earlier. So you'll soon see the opportunities to assist yourself to gain your desired outcome. So what starts off with a desire, we may pray for it, we may think about it, we may shape what we want in our imagination. And then what you do is you start looking for just noticeable differences. And these can come in different ways. One way is by stacking coincidences. So you can actually start by putting yourself in the right place at the right time so that you're stacking coincidences. That helps. But you also can expend some energy and your creativity to create that which you desire. And all of these things are going to add to the magic and the manifestation. And then what you want to do is you want to notice those just noticeable differences. So this is how I get where I want to go, is I have my desire, I'll do my prayer, I'll set my intention, I'll do what I can to move physically towards that goal. Then I'll watch for coincidences and notice ways that I can sort of insert myself a little bit into being at the right time, the right place at the right time. But then I also notice what I call just noticeable differences. So I'll give you an example. Say I want to lose 40 pounds. Well, I may not notice a difference in the scale, but I might notice that my clothes are starting to get a little bit baggier. I may wish for something else, and I just notice little tiny noticeable differences that I would miss if I wasn't watching for them. And this process really helps to supercharge your manifestation. Excuse me. So at this point, I think it's important for me to talk about turbulence. Turbulence is featured in chaos theory, which is part of quantum mechanics. It is the chaotic state experienced just before manifestation. Energy is pulled from subatomic space, which can also refer to as 0 point. It's also known as the Planck level, causing a destabilizing effect as it creates drag, and the wavicles cease to be both matter and energy. They solidify as either physical or energetic, creating the outcome that we have chosen. More about this in step 4. When you break everything down to its smaller components, everything has wave-particle duality, which we call wavicles, and is expressed in both mass and energy. So you can Google subatomic particles and the Planck scale for more detail. So basically what that means is before anything comes into manifestation, things get messy. And so you might think, because things are getting messy, that you're not going to reach your goal. Or you might think that your goal's not coming. But the truth of the matter is, when everything gets a bit crazy and chaotic, that is proof that what you want to manifest is actually coming to you. So whenever things go nuts for me, everything's starting to fall apart or go wrong, computer problems, I'm worried about someone in the family being sick, God only knows what, all of that is an energetic flux where wavicles are now being pulled into my reality. They have to create drag and they have to pull the energy from somewhere. So they're pulling it from everything in my reality. And once it's manifest, things settle right back down. And you're so happy because you're finally reaching your goal. Thank God you stuck it out. So in practical terms, turbulence means things get messy, even painful before they become manifest. So when the shit hits the fan, rejoice because your reward is closer than you think. Now is not the time to give up. And I'm going to say another example of this that's really good is people, when they want to improve their diet and their health, they end up with what we call a healing crisis, where people could actually get very sick when they're detoxifying. But if they stick with the program, they come out on the other side and they just feel fantastic. But you can't get out of it unless you go through it. So it comes back to using your courage to step outside of your comfort zone and grasp a quantum reality with all of its benefits. And I recommend that you go back to Quantum Health Transformation Step 9 for the Nubby Ball technique. We'll teach you how to do that. And to write your own happy story, simply pick a new, uncharted, but thought out desired manifestation point on your Nubby Ball. This is an example of a nubby ball. I don't know if you can actually see this. It's a sphere with nubs all over it, and it symbolizes a sphere with infinite nubs or positions or points. This is also known as a spherical flower of life. Same thing. So if you go back and you review the step 9, you'll know how to use the nubby ball tool. But basically, you want to pick a desire, a manifestation, something that you really, really want, something that you want to watch for the resulting changes unfold in time. And as you learned in Quantum Health Transformation Step 4, you'll need to keep bringing yourself back to your new root. So you have to keep adjusting your thought patterns so that you can believe you deserve it, that this is possible for you. You might want to change your vocabulary, and instead of using victim words, you may want to use heroic words instead. And you certainly need to change your belief systems by knowing that this is indeed possible. But soon you'll be able to see the patterns in experiences as they unfold and plot the future by fine-tuning your desires, which are basically your thought patterns and your beliefs, and your actions, which is your vocabulary and your choices. So what that means in simple terms is you have to work with your manifestation. So you want to watch how you think about what you want. You want to watch the words you use regarding what you want. And of course, you really want to watch your belief systems. And then as you get closer to your goal, you can now fine tune it. So you might want to make little adjustments. You may want to say, yeah, I wanted that, but now I think I want something better, and I want it to be a little bit different. And you just can fine tune it as you go along. So the Quantum Health Transformation Step 3 conclusion. In this Step 3 primer, you learn techniques to manifest more so that your life better resembles your desires. By using your imagination, you can believe in that which you see. By working with the flow of the planet, we make best use of natural cycles to increase productivity. Dealing with disappointment along the way is a valuable learning experience, and corrupting negative memories enhances the present and makes a more desirable future possible. All these things experienced in the 3D reality follow an expansion and contraction model, much like an Argyle sock pattern, and we are free to will anything into our experience which benefits us. And finally, turbulence is proof that our desired goals are close to fruition. So please do stop by my website and check out my products. Instead of me asking you for money, I ask you to go visit my shop and see if there's any beautiful orgone generators, crystals, or even services to assist you on your journey. And if you buy my products or hire me for some consultation, that is helping me and it's helping you, which is more of a win-win situation in the way I look at it. So please do visit my website. It will be in the links below. And that's it from the screen share. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to add to what I already said. I definitely want to add the point that we're living in a truly magical realm. Absolutely. Now, of course, we're taught that's imagination and that's not real and that's fiction. And we have to go to the experts or the only ones who have the nonfiction or the truth. And it's all bullshit. And we're really seeing it all fall apart today. You'd have to be, I don't know, living out in the middle of the woods with no contact to be able to avoid really getting it that things are not as they should or could be. But you know what? Just like turbulence, things have to get messy or they have to get worse before they get better. So when we see the shit hitting the fan on the news and on social media and alt news, just be happy because it's all coming down and it's going to be replaced by something amazing. And the stuff that's amazing, just like the Argyle sock pattern, as this system is coming down, there are all kinds of systems who are rising and rising, so that when this system loses enough control, these other systems can now come in and take over. And we got all kinds of things, from food security to all kinds of housing that cost pennies. We've got energy sources that don't deplete anything and don't hurt anything, that cost pennies, almost nothing. There's no reason why we can't all live in harmony. There's no reason why we can't all have abundance. And what I wish for myself, I always wish for everybody, every human being, and not just the human beings, the animals, the bugs, the plants, all the things that make us an ecosystem. And we're not separate from that. We're part of that. And when it doesn't do well, we don't do well. And I'm going to tell you something else. Really, really want you to get this. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. This system has been programmed by people who do not have our best interests or the best interests of our planet, have been in charge and in control for many, many, many generations. This is not new. We're just becoming aware of it now. And of course, the blame always gets put on, oh, you humans, you're eating too much meat. You humans, you're using gasoline. You humans, it's always put out that we're the bad ones, and we're not. We're good. Most people are amazing, full of love, just absolutely sterling human beings. Yeah, there's a few shitheads out there, pardon my language, but majority that I have found, people are beautiful and they want what's best for everybody, and we can have it. And how are we going to do it? We're going to do it by paying attention to this lesson and other lessons. We're going to become the change that we want to see in the world. And as this system dies and crashes, we're going to rejoice, and we're going to resurrect a whole new world for all of us. Now you might think, oh, it's pie in the sky, daydreams, Karen, you got an overactive man. Yeah, maybe, but guess what? It makes me happy. And since I proved in this lesson that I can change reality, I'm going to do my best to change it for me, for you, for all of us, for everything. And I just want to tell you, I love you very much. I've been really gifted by Source. I have an unending inflow of love energy that I can then turn and extend it out to all of you and to everybody. And I'm just really, really blessed that way. And so I have an abundance of unconditional love, which means I love you just the way you are, warts and bumps and all. And I know that we can make this world a beautiful place. So I guess it's a bit of a shorter show today, but that's okay. Quality over quantity, right? And I'm so glad that you could join me. Whether you're listening to this on audio or whether you're watching it on visual, I'm just so pleased that you took the time to spend some time with me. It's wonderful. I love you so much. So we'll see you next week, everybody, on the Quantum Guide Show. Take care. Hope your week is awesome. Thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels. Like this video and share it with your friends. You can also find the Quantum Guide Show and my other podcast called Aliens and Astrology on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. That's www.forbiddenknowledge.news. And while you're at it, check out my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com, where you will find some amazing products and services and an abundance of free resources to help you with your journey. All of the links are in the description below. And in the meantime, until we see you next week, keep up the good work.
Surrender into endlessness, puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all in